evening, newbies, and Happy New Year. Welcome to Nonprofits Empowering Worlds podcast. Nonprofits Empowering Worlds podcast is a show that's dedicated to featuring nonprofit leaders from the United States as well as globally who have started a nonprofit and built it from the ground up and is currently making major impacts on their community. Today, we are joined by Zelda Robinson from Chicago, who has a nonprofit called the Higher Learning Network. But she is not just a nonprofit founder. She is also a humanitarian that uses her own time and resources to feed the unhoused here in Chicago. So we're going to talk more to Zelda about her journey and what motivates her to do this kind of work and how she stays so youthful looking and vibrant. Look at her, isn't she gorgeous? She doesn't play the guitar, but I love this picture because I think it exemplifies who she is as a person, a free spirit. Before we bring her to the stage, I would like for you to hear a word from the Female Solution Global Broadcast Network, which is the network that we are a part of. I am your host, Bridget Scarborough. I am a nonprofit strategist and founder of 501c3 My.org.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Leaders of Nonprofits Empowering Worlds, let's go.
But the vision that God gave me, I felt that it was time for me to step out and work on the vision that God gave me.
We need look no further. We have a unique voice. We have a unique talent pool.
Hey, Zelda.
Hey there.
Let me move you over to your rightful spots.
Okay.
How are you doing, Zelda?
Oh, it's a wonderful day to be alive, to be breathing. And by the way, Bridget, I don't remember telling you before, but I love your smile. I love your teeth. There's a story behind that. And I love your head wrap. Because you are quite welcome. I have had the pleasure of studying in the mosque. I've studied religions all over because I needed to know who I am, where I came from, and all that stuff. That's another show. But in doing so, I was introduced to a way of being that is not common in the world in which we live. And I love it. And when I see sisters like you adorned in the wrap, and I was like, ooh, yes, I want to be recognized like that as someone who has knowledge, has information to share, and just has a glow about themselves. Is the correct word hijab?
Hijab, yes.
Hijab. And I was blessed with the opportunity to even wear one a couple of times. So I'm just excited. That's all I can say. I'm just excited. And thank you for having me.
Okay, well, I would definitely like to hear more about that. But I love your spirit. I love your style as well. And you also have a head wrap. I mean, I just think that that's a part of our culture as African-American women. We've always done things with covering our hair. Depending on what country you're from and what religious background you have, you may do it in a different way. But covering our hair is part of us as Black folks universally.
It is the crown, baby. It is the crown.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do it as a form of modesty.
Yes, and which is somehow escaped this generation.
Yes, absolutely. We could do a whole show about that.
Okay, because in one of my books I wrote about a sister, and I was still growing, about a sister who was letting it all hang out.
Okay.
And now it's like it's become norm. So I don't go on social media and talk about it, but I will talk about it indirectly. Yeah.
Right.
So little sisters will know that all of this and all of this, it's not for everyone.
Right. Everyone doesn't need to see your assets.
No. No, your assets are for you and who the one that you share it with. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, now people, you know why I brought Zelda onto the show. Zelda also has her own show, but we're going to get that. We're going to get to that a little bit later. First, I want to delve in deep with your nonprofit. Let's just introduce your nonprofits. And if you can let us know, tell us a little bit about the Higher Learning Network. I've pulled up your mission. Okay. If you can just, you can read the mission, or you can just tell it to us in your own words, but we just want to know, what is the Higher Learning Network nonprofit? What is that? And I love your logo, by the way.
Oh yeah, we went through some changes with that, but Spirit worked it out, always does. This organization came into being as a result of my, not necessarily mine, but a community effort to bring the children that would come to the radio station. I retired from WGCI radio, AM 1390, not the FM, not the heathen stuff. I'm sorry, I'm judging. But on the AM side, which was gospel music. And that's what I was raised in. So I felt right at home. But it appeared to me that children were always coming through the station. They're fascinated by the DJ and the music and everything, but they don't have a clue that radio is a business. So someone said to me, Zelda, maybe you should start while they having these tours. Maybe you should do something with the kids too. And I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do with them? They already here. They're getting the information. Spirit, the folk loud into it. You need to listen to it. I'm like, okay, so I listen. So we developed a program to teach them not only how to be on the internet, but how to find their purpose in what they're doing, their speaking, their thinking abilities, their hearing, their listening abilities, because that's not something that is taught in public school or any institution. For that matter, you have to have some form of attentive listening. And this is where they came into the studio and we taught them a little bit more than what they were hearing. So the mission is community. It's all about community, just like Kwanzaa. It's all about community.
Okay, so you did some work with Betty Shabazz School as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that your first?
Yes,
was that
ma'am.
The first program that you implemented?
In the Betty Shabazz International Charter School, yes. Naima Latif,
which is in Chicago, by the way, for my non-Chicago listeners.
On the south side of Chicago. What is it? Right off of 78th and Drexel, I think it is. Excuse me. Our executive producer of the Female Solution podcast, we're on 7 days a week. Dr. Naima Latif suggested that she's on a board of the Higher Learning Network. And she suggested, why don't we go to Betty Shabazz? Because I used to teach there. She used to teach there. And it's like, oh, okay, good. So she knew people. We got in there and got the program up and running. We did a couple of semesters and we're working on more. But these children were so excited. And I was excited that they were excited. Who knew podcasting could be so exciting? So, but what I didn't know is that our children don't know how to write their name on pen and paper. And I was like, oh my God, when did this happen? Well, Zelda, you are a seasoned citizen now, and you have not been in the public school system in over 60 years. So things have changed. And one of those things have not changed for the better. And that is they do not know the magic of pen and paper, the synchronicity that goes on with the brain, that travels from the brain to the fingers, to the arm, to the paper. That is a journey. That is an experience. That is spirit speaking through you. And if spirit can't speak through you because you in this all day, that ain't how spirit works. Spirit will say, put it down, child. Put the phone down. Because when I look up on the phone and I see, I've been on here an hour. What? I just came on here to check. That is why we have to connect with our higher power. First thing in the morning. Don't even turn the phone on the first hour you get up, because I caught myself getting up trying to look. Oh, no. That is not how you were raised, girl. Your mama will be looking at you. Girl, turn that phone off. So when you turn off the electronics, then you tune in. And that's where the answers come from. I say this every day on Monday Morning Mindfulness. When you tune the world out and you tune into what's in here, what the spirit has to say for you, child, you're gonna be just fine. But you gotta still.
Well, I commend you because I'm also in the education field, and what I'm seeing is the same thing that you see. And that's something that I've always preached, was that we need to be teaching our students not only how to read and write, but what you're doing is teach with the podcast program. You're teaching them how to use technology to be a producer versus a consumer. So now, we're just sticking all of the schools. Well, I'll speak for the school that I work at. All of the students are given iPads, and 90% of their work is done on the iPad. But we're not teaching them how to use the iPad and use that technology to create and to become a producer. All we're teaching them to do is consume. Even the curriculum that they're giving them is consumption, right? We're not teaching them how to produce content. We're teaching them how to consume content. And so they're just going from screen to screen. They're doing their assignment, but then they also have several tabs open of other things that doesn't relate to their to their assignment. But even the curriculum itself, when are we going to give them an opportunity to use this tool to produce? And so I commend you for doing that. For doing that part.
Never looked at it like that, but commend the spirit, honey. I'm just paying attention. I'm just a vessel, and I recognize that. Let me tell you, about 20, 30 years ago, yeah, baby, it's all about me, because I didn't know what I know now. But when you recognize that the spirit gives you an assignment, God, Yud-Hey, Wav-Hey, Yahweh, Jesus, whatever you want to call your higher power, when they give you an assignment and you don't listen, you'll wind up in a place you don't want to be longer than you want to be there. I know I'm just telling all my viewers.
Well, speaking of spirit, higher power, I wanted to also talk about your book. Now you have several books actually, but the book, your latest book, and let me bring a copy of that.
The Mindfulness Stress Release Home Practice Journal. Yeah, the breakthrough system. See, everything is a system.
So I see a common thread. I see a common thread with you. You have a show called Monday Morning Mindfulness. You just came out with a book called Mindfulness, the Breakthrough System. Tell us about this mindfulness thing. What is mindfulness? Why are you promoting this? What is your connection to mindfulness? Tell us about what this concept is.
Mindfulness is really simple, and it's what we talk about on the Female Solution all day, every day, and that is to be in the present moment. Mindfulness. full of right now, because most of the times we're thinking about what happened and our to-do list, and we all up in here and not in here. So this program came about as a result of my having an accident and having been hospitalized with a broken ankle. You see, because I had been getting the messages for some while on certain things that I need to be doing with the organization, and I was a little overwhelmed and overworked and underpaid and all that good stuff. But Spirit said, you need to sit down and do this. And I'm on my way. I was working at the time, still working. And I was on my way to work and had an accident. And after that accident, I couldn't see it then, but I can see it now. Best thing happened to me. Broke a limb, couldn't walk, was in the hospital, wheelchair therapy, the whole 9 yards, had to learn how to walk again. And during that time, it was such a blessing in disguise, because this is what showed up. Mindfulness right here, right now. And all you have to do is listen. That's all I did was listen. And I wrote. And that's how that came about. It's not mine. I tell people I'm not the author. I'm just the vessel.
So mindfulness is about being in the present.
In the present moment. And that is so hard to do because we're so busy.
Absolutely. And you share some techniques in the book about how to be present, paying attention to the breath and paying attention to your body and how it moves. There was a section of the book where you talk about stepping onto the elevator and how you were aware of your legs stepping onto the elevator and how it felt and what was going on in your body when you stepped onto the elevator. So I guess these are techniques that bring us into the present moment, right? So we're not thinking about what's happening tomorrow, what happened in the past, things that we can't change. I always like to say, tomorrow actually never comes when you think about it. We're never in tomorrow. We're always planning for tomorrow, but we're never in tomorrow.
Like this current system is right now, that's planned this 50 or 100 years ago. What we're experiencing right now was planned 50 or 100 years ago, if not longer, who knows?
So go ahead.
It's a challenge being in the present moment, because there's so much coming at us from all sides. From the what do you call it? The chemtrails,
yes,
which is disturbing our inner. So it's a real challenge to be present at any moment in time. And one of the most powerful things that you can do at any moment in time, ever in life, is to use the stop technique that I developed. That Spirit gave me. I ain't developed nothing. Quit lying, girl. Spirit gave it to me. STOP. Stop. Whenever you are out of sync, unbalanced, stop. STOP and breathe. You simply go inhale and exhale. And if you take that breath long enough, you will feel the energy moving through your body. So now let me tell you what STOP is. It's real simple. S is for stop. T is for take a breath. Always through the nose. And exhale. O in the word stop is for observe. See how we always look up, down, and around, but we seldom look within. That's the observation that we want. And last but not least, it's the P in practice, STOP. You got to practice it. It's not going to happen on your own. You can't do it when you're not disturbed. You got to do it when you're disturbed. And the way to do it is go, and chances are people going to look at you like you crazy. But if you got a little funk on your breath, you forgot to brush your teeth, garlic, and all that stuff, and breath kind of foul, they'll be like, Zelda girl, okay, yeah, girl, all right, I'll see you later. The breathing works. Plain and simple. It works. And I did not go to school to get education for this. I have a degree in journalism, broadcast journalism. Has not served me a day in my breathing and in my stress relief. And as a matter of fact, it increased it because in radio, you have to talk very, very fast. So I had to learn how to slow it down a little bit. And I still talk fast. I know I do, but I don't talk as fast as I used to talk because you had to. Now, did you understand what I said? Of course not. And the brain doesn't understand it when you talk like that. So you got to have a conversation in the morning with your brain. What?
Right.
Are you serious? I got to talk to my brain. It's in your head. Why wouldn't you talk to it? It's yours. Makes sense to me. I'm just saying.
So is this something that you shared with your students?
With my listeners? About the breathing? About the breathing every morning, every Monday morning.
When you were teaching?
At the Beta Shabbat, at the podcast train? Absolutely. These genius children, they are so far ahead of me. I was like, can we just go over here and sit down and have a conversation so you can teach me a few things? Well, Miss Zelda, I don't know nothing. Yes, you do. From the mouths of babes. I learned that as a little girl. Yeah. Don't tell children to shut up. Allow them to speak. They may speak at inappropriate times, but allow them to speak. Because this ear may not hear it, but this ear right here might hear it. And that's the ear we need to listen with. It's the heart ear. Is there such a thing? Well, it is now. The heart ear. That's what I'm calling it.
And they really got a professional because you have a background in radio. You worked for WGCI. You were a host on WGCI, correct?
Mm-hmm.
V103.
V103 and WGCI AM. I worked at every radio station in Chicago. JPC, John H. Johnson, the only black man that had a radio station in Chicago. WNUA, Smooth Jazz 95.5. WCRX. There's a lot of them. I don't know. I can't think of all of them, but it gave me a foundation, and I'm so glad I had that because it gave me exposure to other things, to other people.
How many years did you do that? How many years were you on the radio?
Oh gosh, now you want to make me think. 25, somewhere around there, 25, 26, 27, 28, somewhere around there. I started in 1900 and something or another. I don't know. But I was the oldest student because I was a late bloomer. I went back to school at 36 to get my degree in broadcast journalism because I was working as I did a clerical work, just like all other women. I did clerical work and it just wasn't satisfying. And I'm like, I got to do something. I don't know what to do. And at the time I was
know what?
Huh?
Well, in the research that I did, I discovered that me and you have the same alma mater. I'm a graduate of Columbia College, and so are you.
Really? I did not know that, Bridget.
Yeah,
wow.
I actually started out as a journalism major, but I dropped that and went into education.
Oh, wow. Good for you. You see what journalists are at right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, right now you can be a journalist without having a degree because of the internet.
Yeah. Independent journalist, yeah, because gone are the days of AP and Newswire, and I was a member of the Chicago Association of Black Journalists for a while, and it just kind of died out when COVID hit. Everything died out,
right?
And being in that circle for our children really, really gives them a head up, and not only do our children. Oh, my battery's about to go out. I got to plug my computer up. I thought I had it plugged up. Not only, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. I saw my.
You said not only do our children. You were about to say something about the children.
Oh, they spoke to children in China. They spoke to the children in China. Naima Latif, Dr. Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution, has a niece who lives in China. And we were having a conversation and she said, well, maybe we should connect American students with Chinese students. I'm like, yeah, that'd be a bomb. That would be awesome. And that's what happened.
That's
and
nice.
They learned a little Chinese. We learned a little Chinese. I gotta.
Well, yeah, I was excited when I found that out. I know so many creative people that graduated from Columbia. I mean, Columbia College really does put out talent. I will say that. I was in print journalism though, and it was so boring. I dropped it right away. But the only thing that the one main thing I took away from print journalism that I still use to this day, that was the most valuable thing, was the desktop publishing class. So back then I took a desktop, all the other classes I was not interested in. But the desktop publishing class set a foundation for me to do what I do now. I ended up publishing, while I was there, I ended up publishing poetry. But once I learned desktop publishing, I was like, this is all I need to know. I could publish my own book. So I published a poetry book while I was still in college. And then even to this day, even though now we have more advanced software and apps now to do this type of desktop publishing work that we used to do, now it's a lot more advanced. It kind of set the foundation for design and layout with me, so that's why I'm able to do my own promotional materials and things. I've always enjoyed doing things like that. Yeah, design and layout. So, but I got that from desktop publishing class. I wouldn't have even known that was an interest of mine. But once I knew that, I said, wow, we can, I've been able, when all of the businesses and things like that, I've been able to use those skills to do brochures and, logos and all of that kind of stuff, and that really, the foundation for that was with that class, that desktop publishing class.
And that was a class at Columbia College? At Columbia College?
Yeah, it was in the journalism program. Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that class. I might have taken that one.
Now, remember, this was back in the day. So it's probably a lot different now because we were using like Quark Express and all of those type of programs. Now people have Canva, and it's a lot more, the software is a lot more advanced now. But I did my first poetry book in Quark Express, and I learned that from the desktop publishing class, how to use that.
Wow. And what year was this?
90. I started Columbia in 95.
Okay.
1995. So I probably took that class around 1996, 97, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I left in 93 and I wanted to go back, but I was just so sick of school. I swore on a stack of Bibles I would never pick up another book, read another nothing. So don't say what you're not going to do, because that's exactly what you wind up doing. I learned the hard way. But yeah, Columbia is a place where you can learn so much because the students are from everywhere. And there's just and what I really loved about it was that the teachers actually work in the area, in the industry where you want to go.
Yeah.
That's how I got my internship at WGCI and wind up getting a job there. The people, your teachers, are working in that field. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
Right. That was their claim to fame. That's what they always advertise, that you have, that the teachers there are actually in the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
They never lied.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and find out the humanitarian part of Zelda, because she talked about her nonprofit, but to tell you the truth, that's actually not the reason why I was moved to bring her on the show. So we're going to go into her current humanitarian efforts as soon as we hear a word from Asada, who has a book fair coming up. So we're going to let you know about this book fair that's coming up in Chicago.
Next month.
Yes, called the Soulful Chicago Black History Fair.
Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair.
Hey family, this is Charles Humphrey of MCH Publishing, and I'm here with Ashada, and we at the Soulful Chicago Book what?
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, slamming.
We getting down in Hyde Park. Just run it down, my sister. Just tell us, for the people, a little bit about what we're doing here today and why.
You know, this is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, and this month is very important. I feel like we don't give it the type of recognition that it needs, but beyond that, I do all things literary, and we have so many ancestors that have taken a tradition of writing and done great things. Well, we have those of us that are carrying on that tradition, and nobody knows about them until now. So the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair is allowing us to tell our stories according to ourselves for our own benefit. And it's just beautiful. I mean, she could have been here today if you wasn't here, but if you were, it's been amazing. People came in consistently, children, and we have children's authors, we have nonfiction authors, we have fiction authors. This is really good. And it's about taking our own power in our own hands and doing what we do on the literary tip, though.
Right.
I got to work, but I can't help it. Everything going to school. I just about bring my African shit like this. Bring in the African shit.
Book fair. So
if everybody mark your calendars, February 15th, the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair this year is going to be in Brownsville instead of Hyde Park. But that was just a glimpse of what you can expect. Brownsville is a community in Chicago area.
And it's going to be on and
popping. So Zelda.
Yes, it is. Yes, ma'am.
So I know that you currently do a lot of work with the homeless, and that's actually why I initially wanted to bring you onto the show. As I delve deeper into who you were, I noticed you do all of these other things. You're an author, you are a talk show host, a radio talk show host, now turned podcaster, and you have youth programs that you do and things like that. So there's a lot to Zelda, but one of the things that caught my eye was the work that you do with the homeless people. So I wanted to, or the unhoused, as you call them. And that's another thing I want to ask you about, even that term. So we're going to delve into that a little bit. Before we do that, I'm going to show a clip of you doing some work with the unhoused, and then we'll have a little discussion about it. Okay.
All right, sounds good to me.
Okay, give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
I
am.
And
while you're doing that, I can tell the audience about just this past week. It don't get no better. Remembering National Homeless Persons Memorial Day this weekend was the celebration. Say, remembering the Homeless Persons Memorial Day. Yeah. Because you don't never know when you gonna be next. So as my granny used to say, child, you better help somebody. And we talking about helping yourself, helping others. And you don't have to know them to help them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to try one more time to bring this.
Okay.
Okay.
Nothing beat a failure but a try. Nothing beat a failure but a try. All you got to do is keep trying. You don't get it the first time. Try this time of year. We help people. That's what we do. Y'all on the like that. Distribution starts in about 15 minutes. As you can see, there are people everywhere. all down the line. And it's gonna be Christmas because we got people who love helping people. How cool is that? It don't get no better. It don't get no better. You don't feel good. Something wrong with you. You ailing. You just feel out of sorts. Go do something for somebody else. Watch your whole spirit change. Watch what happens to you. Watch what comes to you. Ooh! I cannot tell you. I can only show you. But don't believe nothing I say. Do it for yourself. And
So
watch
this is how you spent your Christmas, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
This is how you spent
Yes,
your
ma'am.
Christmas, right? And this is why I say you have the nonprofit, but you're also a humanitarian. I'm not sure how much of what you're doing with the homeless relates to your nonprofit, or is this something separate that you're doing? But let's talk about that. Like, what made you start servicing the unhoused? And also, why do we call it unhoused instead of homeless? What I grew up calling people that didn't have a home, homeless. Why are we now transitioning to calling it the unhoused?
I'm so glad
This is something new to me.
New to me too. It's like, okay, so you've been calling the homeless, our unhoused neighbors, you've been calling them unhoused since you were a child, 50, 60, 70 years ago. So one of our callers, Baba Kwame Sunhorse, called in one day and he said something to me. Here we're talking about the homeless, unhoused. And he said, Elder, think about this. No one is ever homeless, ever. And this is what he said. He said, the sky is your ceiling. The ground is your floor. And the walls are your environment. Okay. Your donation. And that is from Mrs. Deborah Smith, who is on every third Saturday on the Female Solution. She's our travel expert. And we've taken trips with her. So we know she know what she's doing. But let me back up. And thank you very, very, very much, Mrs. Deborah Smith. And for all the listeners and all the viewers who find grace in their heart to share what they have. But I want to go back to the beginning. In 1900.
And I apologize for the video interruption. I'm still new to
don't worry,
maneuvering.
You're not by yourself. I'm new too. I had a little bloops all the time. So trust me, you're not by yourself.
Yes, I'm still new to maneuvering some of these functions here on StreamYard. But go ahead. You were talking about why we don't call homeless people homeless.
Because people have an agenda. And I discovered that agenda is not for the best interest of those who are living on the street. I watch a lot of YouTube University. That's where I get a lot of my information from. And when I discovered that many nonprofits, not ours, but many nonprofits get millions of dollars, and here we are here scraping. It's because they know who to connect with, and they know how to spend the money, and they spend the money on salaries, not always on the unhoused. So I've discovered there's a racket going on. You want to make some money, start servicing the housing. I have not applied for one grant for housing, but I've met a sister who has some information on some housing. So we're gonna be able to house some folks in a minute. Matter of fact, right now, because we're working on it. So we're gonna make that happen. But I want to back up to how this organization got started. At first, there's a sister named Rhonda Thomas. And we were teaching women how to start a nonprofit agency, how to start a business, how to start an LLC, all that. And it was called the Professional Women's Empowerment Network, PWEN. Well, during those breaks in the training, the sisters would get together and talk to each other. And they would always talk about their children. And they were always saying, well, wish we had something like this for the children. And so we were thinking, okay, maybe we need to do something for the children. Okay. So we started YEN, the Youth Empowerment Network. And then after a while, the adults said, okay, you training the children, but you need to come back to us. So it's like, okay, we got the youth and we got the adults. And we can't use any of those names. We can't use Professional Women's Empowerment Network. We can't use Youth Empowerment Network. So we need something else. And someone comes along and brings me a big H. And what am I supposed to do with this? And something said, Spirit said, just hold on to it. And it's like, okay. And out of nowhere came the word Higher Learning Network. And I got it, and it clicked just like that. So even though we went from Pwen to Yen to HLN, we are now the Higher Learning Network. And we've been operating since 1900 and something or another. I don't know. Anywho, I just love saying 1900 or another because that makes you sound really, really, really old, right? I want to get to be 102, that kind of. But homeless or unhoused, because when we say the word homeless, it has a negative connotation, like you're unworthy. You are not a person that I would like to associate with because you have nowhere to live. Worst thing in the world. What kind of consciousness is that? So maybe, just maybe, I don't know, just maybe somebody came up with unhoused because it sounds a little more palatable, a little bit more friendly. Not so the homeless people over there, but now they're unhoused. Where do you think it came from? That's what I think. I don't know. And that's just in the last 5
Well,
years.
you started to say that somebody shared with you, somebody stated, people. Yeah, you started to make a statement, and I think I interrupted you with that video. But you were saying that someone said that they have the sky above them, they have the ground below them, or something to that effect. Did you want to finish that statement? What was the message there?
He's Baba Kwame Sunhorse, who is a seasoned citizen. He lives in Georgia. Naeem and I and somebody else, Deborah, as a matter of fact, went down to Georgia. I forgot what, it wasn't Atlanta, it was a suburb of Atlanta. I can't remember which one. And we were having a conversation. We went for a little powwow in the yard where, not a smoking powwow, but a powwow where great minds came together to focus on the upliftment of the community. And while he was there, he said something that struck me. He said, the sky, there's no such thing as homelessness. It's unhoused. The sky is their ceiling. The ground is their floor. And the environment are their walls. And I hope I said it right, Baba. I hope I said it right. Because America has taught us that if we don't have the traditional housing, like in the motherland, we live in huts, let me straighten that out, in the suburban part of the continent of Africa, in the hills, people live in huts. And there's nothing wrong with living in a hut. You learn how to survive. You learn how to use your instincts because you're out there with nature. You don't have the ability to go and open a door and go sit on a toilet and squat and release yourself. You don't have that. So you have to become creative. You become a genius through survival, through instinct. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've lived not on the street, but I've lived somewhere I didn't want to live. I'll put it like that. I wasn't on the street. I was in a house. I was in an apartment. I was in I had my own bedroom. But it wasn't mine. When we're taught that, family doesn't matter. Everybody needs your own. No, you don't. You need family. You need people that are familiar with, that you are familiar with, because you have something in common. We have a collective consciousness, and the ancestors are always talking. We just too busy listening. I'm sorry, I talk too much. Go ahead, girl. I do that.
Oh no, I'm soaking up everything you're saying, because the other thing that we don't think about is there's homeless people that we know are homeless because they're literally sleeping on the street. And so we can look at them and say, okay, this person is homeless or this person is unhoused. But there's another population you just described where maybe they are living up under a roof. However, it's not their own. It's somebody's, they're staying on somebody's couch. They're going from house to house, different day, a different home. They may have to hustle and manipulate to, get somebody to let them stay with them, for that night or a couple of nights. And then they have to do the same thing. It's like, okay, repeat next day, repeat, same thing. Whose house am I going to be staying at tonight? Who am I going to smooth talk my way into or manipulate or, whatever they have to do. So, there's people that, again, they may have a roof over their head, but that doesn't mean that it's theirs. We have a student population. That's where the McKinney-Vento laws came into play, because, a lot of our students are homeless, living from place to place, living in a car, things like that. And they might not have an address. So homelessness looks like a lot of different things. Just because you are sleeping under someone's roof doesn't mean that you're not homeless.
And I had no idea that there were so many unhoused children.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to 19. One could almost say I was homeless as a 10-year-old when my mom passed, but I had an auntie. I had an auntie in Mississippi. That's why I love Mississippi so much. And notice I said Mississippi. I didn't say Mississippi. I am a college-educated woman with a degree. Yeah, like that really means something, especially now. But Mississippi rocks. The most humanitarian folk I have ever met in my life will give you the shirt off their back, half the food on their plate, and that's where I get that from.
Right.
My auntie, Aunt Edna, thank you, baby. My Aunt Edna saved me when my mama passed, and they shipped me down south to go live with my aunt. And I left the train station. And that's why I love riding the train. I had a phobia about it, but now I love riding the train. Get off the train station, get in the back of a 1939 Ford pickup. And I just felt so alone, so lost, like nobody wanted me. Nobody wanted to be bothered with me, a little girl. Nobody wanted to be bothered with my little brother who was like 5 years under me, who really started all of this memorial. The work that I do is in dedication to him. Douglas Robinson was murdered by a man in Tent City, right down there on Canal and Taylor, right next to the BP gas station. He got killed one morning, and someone called me and told me, I lost it. Yeah. But all of his unhoused friends showed up at his funeral. And one of them was bawling so bad. I was like, get that child out of here. I'm trying to hold my composure. And he's, Douglas was, and I was like, okay, get yourself together. Anyway, I said that to say this. All these people showed up. And they asked me if I would still come and bring them food. Now that Douglas wasn't it, because Douglas was known like the mayor of Tent City. I mean, he had a great queen-size bed, a great big tent, a tent, a big old flat screen. And I wish I had went in there before he left, but I didn't. But he was so welcoming. There were people who had nothing and they had to lay on the ground. He'd tell them to come lay in his tent, lay on the mattress. I'm like, you don't know these people. This is what I'm thinking to myself. He didn't have to know them. It's all about the heart, baby. And so, yes, I kept my commitment to this day. He's been going since 2019. I'm doing the work of the creator. This is not about me or the Higher Learning Network. We just here representing. That's all we do. And I recognize that. And I'm grateful that I recognize, because baby, in my 20s and my 30s, I thought it was all about me. I'm a Leo, so you know how that go, right? Leos think it's all about. No, it is not about you. It's about you. It's about the mission. You were just chosen to do it. And because you were hard-headed the first time, I had to sit you down so you could hear me, so you could get the work done. That's why I do what I do. It ain't because I want to do it. I mean, I enjoy doing it. It gives me joy. It gives me a lot of joy. I look forward to it. I hate to say it, but it gives me a lot of joy to know that because I woke up and I wasn't feeling my best and a lot of pain. But I had to ask myself the question, are you going to focus on the pain or are you going to focus on what you're going to do? So I focused on what I had to do, and the pain went away. What?
Wow.
Yes. Because I had a conversation that's going on all up in here, but I went to the heart and said, heart, you know these people need to eat today, and you know this sciatica is kicking me. I just, you know my heart, help my body move because I can't do it on my own. Let me go in there and cook that food. And I'm not a cook.
That was deep. That was deep what you just said. That was deep. So that's your purpose. And I knew when I was, that's your purpose. I knew that what you were doing with the unhoused was not necessarily a result of your nonprofit. It seemed like it was something separate because you're not getting any funding for this. How do you get your resources? How do you gather the resources that you're giving the unhoused? Because it's not just food. I've seen you give blankets and you give hot food, but then there's also snacks. I feel like you're very thoughtful as well because you're thinking of everything that they may need. So I've seen you give blankets. I've seen you give snacks, desserts, hot meals, coats. Where do you get your resources from?
Community.
If you're not getting any grants and things like that.
Community. We have not gotten one grant to do the work that we're doing. But because this is not something that we do all willy-nilly, we have been given the instructions to do it. And where the instructions are giving, the provisions will be provided. And I know this. So my mission for 2026 is to enlarge our territory by getting other folk to join us in the work that we do. Oh, there's a there's an organization called Street Samaritans that I went and volunteered with, who go out and did they feed them? I think they gave them more resources than food. I don't think they gave them food. If they did give them food, it was snacks, a lot of snacks. That might be where the idea where I got the snacks from, because we were always giving them food, but we weren't giving them snacks. But just to back up a little bit, I have been a volunteer at an organization called eaachicago.org. When it first started in 1980 something, I don't know. Anyway, I've been a volunteer there for over 35 years. And since I was there with the executive director, and he knows I wasn't doing this then, but I've always been a volunteer. They offer CETA, lie heap, clothing, food for seniors, and construction as well, if their homes are falling apart. So I knew about this organization, and then I went to another church that my cousin took me to, and I volunteered there. So it's like I'm getting all of these organizations. So I'm asking these organizations to donate as well. And when they donate, that's how we get the big meals for Christmas. We had a ham. Thank you, Congressman Danny Davis, and the Hope Coalition. That's where we got our ham from. Thank you, Linda Barker, CEO of Sisters of the Hood, who sent me there to volunteer. And I volunteered. You need something done, call me. If I'm available and I'm in no pain, I can help you. So I went there. And because of that, They also gave us some toys to give to the children, even though I don't believe in that children need to know that they're loved, and that's how you're going to show them that they're loved. Give them toys, then give them a toy. So I got some toys. I can, yes, I can. Being a volunteer enriches your life, and you learn so much every single week. I go there every Thursday from 2 to 4. I get there at 12 and leave at 5. But those are the hours that we distribute food. And they always let me take something to the unhoused. And I am so very grateful. And I am even more grateful for people like you who are watching this on the Female Solution, who send in whatever you have, $1, $5, $10, $20, $100, $200, $500, whatever you send in. We have regulars who send in money all the time. And I show them, and I tell the people when we're filming and say, look, I do not have to film you, but I do have to film me or him giving the food away. So these people will know we ain't out shopping. We don't do that. Girl, if I never hit another store in my life again, it'd be too soon for me. We're not out spending money, traveling all over the world. I see where people take people's money and they just go and have a good time. That's not what we do. Our heart is in the work that we do. So, and we got to count. And we give, what do they call it at the end of the year when you give a financial statement of how much money you've donated? We give that too. So if you need that, we got that for you.
A charitable receipt.
Yes.
Yes, a donation receipt or charitable receipt.
Yes, ma'am.
I have another, first, before, I have another video that I want to show, but before we do that, if somebody did want to donate to you, how would they contact you? Should they go to the website and contact you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a big PayPal sign there, and if they can't go through PayPal, they just scroll down the page and leave me their contact information, and I'll send them. We have Zelle, Venmo, Cash App. There's another one I can't think of it, but anyway, if they go to higherlearningnetwork.org and just scroll down and put their information in there, and we'll contact them and give them a receipt for their donation.
Absolutely. And you're a 501c3 organization, so they get a tax write-off for that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to go ahead and play this other video of you. Sorry, did you want to say something?
That's why I was so excited when I saw when you had joined the team. I said, name her company called 501c3. Oh, yeah, I got to talk to this. She's bomb.com. Yeah. But she knows some things. Yeah, she knows some things that I might not know. Yeah, I got to talk to her. And then out of the blue, I was like, oh, okay, still working. Always, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Well, you can always schedule a consultation. I just had a consultation with Naima about some things that she wants to do.
Okay. Wonderful. Yes, ma'am. I will be doing just that.
So let me show this other video of you providing resources to the unhoused. And then I had a couple of questions I want to ask you about that.
Okay. Now that's a young man. He is always our first stop. Thank you, Mrs. Deborah Smith, for your donation. As you can see, they're going to Thank you. Hey, that young man is always our first stop on our journey, because we always see him first, and he's usually always there. And I never because I don't like to be awakened when I'm asleep. I don't never want to wake him up, but Tony's like, wake him up. We got food for him. And he usually wakes up. So that's just my idiosyncrasies. Yeah. Because you wake me up when I'm asleep, you're going to have a problem. I'm telling you that right now.
That's actually one of the questions I wanted to ask, because I've seen several videos with you where you're hesitant to wake a person up, and you're talking about that. And then sometimes I believe there was an occasion where you did wake them up, but then there's other occasions where you say, I'm not going to wake them up. I'm just going to leave the food here. So I want to kind of talk about what are the protocols for servicing the homeless. I mean, these are things that I would have not thought about, because, this is not the type of work that I do every day. So I don't, when I saw that, I was like, wow, that is something to think about. Do you wake the person, you have this agenda to feed the unhoused, but you get there and then they're asleep. So what do? Do you wake them up? Do you leave the food? Like, these are decisions you have to make. So what are some of the protocols, I should say, around servicing the unhoused, safety concerns, regulatory concerns, just concerns about their mental health, their well-being, and just being respectful. How do you approach this in a respectful manner? Like, what are some of the things that you have to consider when doing this kind of work?
First and foremost, I'm so glad you asked that question, because you have to be mindful of the state of being a person who is living on the street. They are number one suspect of you because they don't know you. They don't know if the food that you're going to give them is tainted. Because I saw a movie where they were feeding people who were unhoused and the food was tainted. Need I say more? So once you keep going back, once they see you on the regular and nobody died the day before, the week before you gave them some food, that's a good sign. So they'll be receptive to you when you come back. Because I've discovered in this work that there are a lot of people who don't mean unhoused people good. They're up to something. Now, what that something is, I don't know. I don't care to get into, but it is not of their best interest, because I've never said this publicly, but I'm going to say it now. I was attacked mentally, not physically. I was attacked mentally by an unhoused person. And it wasn't in my duty of feeding. I was sitting at a park by myself, with myself, listening to some motivational speech or something. I don't remember what it was. And a guy walked up to me. He said, "Hey, Mom, can you give me some money?" I said, "Baby, I don't have any money, but I do have a gift card. We can walk around the corner to McDonald's and get you something to eat." He said, "I didn't ask you for no McDonald's. I asked you for some money." And I said, "Maybe you didn't hear me. I said we could walk around the corner and get you something to eat." Well, he got indignant, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Okay, so how are we going to handle this?" So I just let him vent. And then when he said it again, I said, "You know what? You need to go in the other direction, because I'm sitting here, a woman alone by myself. Don't let this cane fool you." And I picked up my cane and I stood up and put my hand in my pocket. And I said, "Now, if you want to come a little closer, you can. But if you want to go home tonight, if you want to sleep somewhere warm other than in jail, you need to back up off of me." And when I got up and put my cane down and put my hand in my pocket, he talked smack, but he walked away. And see, that wasn't number spirit, because I ain't had nothing in my pocket. He didn't know that, though.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband is always telling me, ex-police officer, he's always telling me, "You need to get a gun." And it's like, I don't want that energy around me, because I don't ever want to have to use it.
Right.
So he always tell me, "Don't go by myself." So I was by myself, with myself, minding my own business. I was not eating. So no one has ever attacked me. There's been a whole lot of craziness said, but it wasn't said to me. They just talk crazy among each other. Because the last 2 weeks ago, we were in Underground Whacker, and a guy pulled up on a bike. And then there was another girl, a white girl, coming down the street, and she was just looking kind of crazy. And he was like, "Don't get that heifer no. Don't give her no food." And I'm like, "You don't tell me, first of all, who to feed. I fed you, I can feed her. If she on drugs, that's her business. My mission is to feed. And that's what I'm doing. He started cussing. I was like, you know what? That ain't what we do here. So I'm going to let you go that way and I'm going to go this way and you have a good day. That's how we going to do that. You're not going to talk. You're not going to call a sister. I don't care if she's white. I don't care if she's high. I don't care if she's a drug addict. You're not going to call another woman a bitch in my presence and expect me to be okay with it. That ain't how I roll. So we let her go, you go, and I'm gone. And I'll see you next week. And hopefully you'll have a better attitude when I give you some more good food. Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, I'll do just that. We're going to be just fine. Okay. If I hadn't stepped to him like a sister, ain't no telling what he would have did. So I had to do what I had to do to protect my sanity and my privacy so that I could continue serving others. That's just the Leo in me. That's all.
Yes. And I'm glad we're talking about this because, yeah, there's always safety concerns in anything that we do.
Always.
You know, we have a good heart. We want to help, but you do have to be conscious of what the risks are and have some protocols in place.
One of those protocols is that we pray. May the spirit of safety be around us as we are guided to go out into these streets. Because we never know who we're going to feed. Sometimes we think we're going to feed people over here and ain't nobody there. And we go over there on Lake Street. There's a bunch of people over there. And we go up north. There's a bunch of people up there. So we always do the prayer of protection. And nothing, ever since we've been doing nothing. And I haven't been shot, stabbed, wound, might have been cussed out, but I'm used to that because, you know, that's what some folk do. So the only protocol for our safety is just to be aware, because we've rolled up on situations where people were getting a little violent. And it's like, we're going to pass them up today. We are not getting in that mess. You will not see the Higher Learning Network on the news because somebody got hurt here. No, there's plenty of people in Chicago that need feeding. So we don't have one spot. Lower Wacker Drive, Upper Wacker Drive, Marine Drive, Lake Street, Hudson, Garvey. Oh, we got plenty of places. We serve until the food runs out. When the food runs out, we're gone. But we serve until we don't have any more. We never bring food back. We're going to find some folks to get his food too. Because girlfriend don't cook. I wasn't allowed in the kitchen as a child. So I was never a cook. And then I got married. My husband likes to cook, so I let him cook. But now he's retired. He don't like to cook. So I got to cook because this is my mission. He just helps. Thank God for him. Because somebody had to cook that ham. I wouldn't put my hand on that pork. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have said that. Bacon is not my friend as much as I love it. Bacon is not my friend. Especially when I heard a comedian say you eating the booty hole of a pig. I was like, what? Oh, no.
Well, when you saw you making some seafood gumbo, it had like all chicken product in it, if I'm not mistaken. I was like,
we had two different gumbos. Yeah, one gumbo was just chicken and sausage in it. Girl, yeah, we feed them good. People feed us, we feed them.
I want to taste some of that gumbo. I want to taste some of that chicken gumbo.
But they loved it. They said, "Oh, when you gonna make some more of that?"
It looked good.
It
looked good. And it didn't have any pork in it, so that's right up my alley. That's right up my alley.
So next time I make something, I'll put it on the freezer. I most certainly will.
Definitely. So Zelda, it looks like we are coming to the end of our show. And I absolutely have you back because, I mean, there's so much more that we could talk about. There's so many of the topics that we did touch upon, we can expound upon. So it was a pleasure. I love your energy. And I'm just so grateful that you were able to come here today. And I hope that people have picked up on the gems that you dropped, because she dropped some gems definitely in the show. So it was a pleasure. And are there any final thoughts that you would like to leave for our audience before I play our closing?
Simply breathe when you are stressed and listen for the answers. And last but not least, baby, find yourself a tree and sit down next to it and have a conversation and see what happens. You thank me later. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Zelda. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. See you on Monday Morning Mindfulness.
Ooh.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for
Go
sharing.
ahead and say it.
See you on
See
Monday
you on
Morning
what?
Mindfulness, 7 until 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on our YouTube channel, Higher Learning TV Show. Smooches.
Thank you. Thank you, Zelda.
Thank you.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.